Hey you guys, so I was reading First Samuel 15 last week, and there's a message that really stood out to me, and it stood out to me before, but I was kind of hesitant on doing a video on it. But the message is certainly this: it's that you cannot be half obedient. And so what I mean by that is that oftentimes God has called us to do something, but we decide to do it the way we see fit. For example, in First Samuel 15, God calls the prophet Samuel to let King Saul know that he wants him to go and basically wipe out a nation of people. And so the directions were to wipe out everybody, like just get rid of the entire kingdom, the nation, excuse me. And King Saul decides that he would go and he would wipe out what he saw fit. So he kept what seemed to be the healthy lamb, the oxen, and all the things that you could potentially sacrifice and eat and things like that. And so he saw these things, and he decided to spare their lives. And in addition to that, he decided to spare the life of the king. And so he came back basically to his nation. And, the prophet Samuel's like, what is this stuff? I thought we told you to get rid of everything. And then King Saul goes on to tell him that he was going to use it to sacrifice to glorify God. And so there's two messages in there that I think are super, super important. And the first is that you can't be half obedient. Oftentimes God has given you a vision, or God has called you to do certain things, and you decide that you want to do it the way you see fit, right? In a way that could potentially be more palatable or more culturally acceptable to people. There have been plenty of people that I've talked to who, God has given them a vision to start a business. And so they start to kind of get things up and running, and they have their business plan. But somewhere along the lines, like, the mission changes and the purpose changes, and it changes to fit society. It changes to fit, the people around you, because you're going to these people and you're getting confirmation about, like, hey, what do you think about this business plan? Hey, what do you think about this and that? And people don't think like you know what I mean? And people weren't called to accomplish what you were called to accomplish. And so it starts to change, and then you wonder why God didn't bless it. Right? So there have been plenty of people that I talked to who are like, I know exactly why my business wasn't successful. And it was because the way God gave it to me wasn't the way that I decided to go about executing it. And so that's really important, that you just cannot be half obedient. And secondly, God is constantly telling people to kill certain things in their life. And I think that it's so important to understand that. And it's so important to understand that you cannot glorify God with the thing that he told you to kill. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. If God has told you to kill something, then that is where that thing should end. And I realize that we're human. I realize that, it takes a while for us to walk away from situations, friendships, relationships, work in spaces and environments and things like that. But the last thing that you want to do is try to convince God that this is something that you need for yourself, or to try to take that toxic relationship and glorify God with it. Like, you're not fooling him, right? Like, he knows your thoughts. He knows the secret conversations. Like, you may be able to fool your friends. You may be able to fool people on social media and your family. But at the end of the day, like, you're not fooling God. Like, he knows your heart. He knows their heart. He knows exactly what's going on in that home and on that phone and everywhere else. And so, like, I just think those are two very, very, very important messages. And that, again, is the first one. You can't be half obedient. If God's called you to do something, then you need to execute it the way he intends it to be executed. And so that way, like, he'll be able to bless you and bless what you're doing, and bless the fact that you've been set apart and that you've actually accomplished what he's called you to accomplish. And second, you can't glorify God with the thing that he's asked you to kill. Period. Like, it just doesn't work like that. And so those are two messages that I really wanted to share with you. I think they're very important. And if you like them, or if you feel like they were helpful, certainly like this video, share it with friends, family, or whoever you feel like could benefit from it. So thank you. Talk to you later.